listening to.
Oh, I was
So
gonna
the
say,
fact,
how'd you know the password? I forgot you're watching
I,
my stream.
uh, I didn't even bother putting the password in. It just did it automatically. I'm not touching my controller right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Bro, what the this game's just built I told you you're built different.
Yeah, man. Like, yeah. So talking to Lucy Kristen or like Richard Epcar, and the fact that Richard Epcar, the voice of Bobo Bob,
The
by the
voice
way,
of
and the
Bubba
voice of
Boo!
the voice of Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, the fact that he's like, I like you, I like your integrity. I'm like, damn, bro.
God.
That makes the world for me, you
Till
know.
this day,
Or
I
like
still
Justin Cook.
quote.
Justin Cook's fucking great, dude. Like,
Yeah, I've heard Justin Cook's really cool. Also, wait, Dawson, you beat Majora's both without the Fierce Deity and with Fierce Deity. It's pretty raw. I only went Fierce Deity, but I like the dedication, to be honest. Honestly,
I love
Fierce,
Super Mario World, bro.
this
So
game's so
cool.
fucking good.
It's so fucking good.
From what I've
Hopefully,
heard,
hopefully we won't have a spinning Mario because this is the emulated version, so it's physically impossible to do
yeah,
that.
exactly. Fucking, we can't get the UV rays fucking lighting on our cartridge or whatever. Okay, so
Oh
I'm gonna
yeah.
ask this because I always ask everybody. Do you want to go left or right? Also, I hope you want it to be Luigi. I didn't even ask.
Oh, bro, you know, Luigi's my favorite character out of the two. I
Okay.
actually love Luigi. So if anything, every time you play Luigi's Mansion, I'm like, this is the real game. This is the real
Yeah,
Mario
that's
game
my
that everybody's been
boy.
waiting for. Like,
Okay, here's a question.
also, Nintendo. I don't know how Nintendo ninjas are watching. Where the fuck's the port from Luigi's Mansion 1, bro? I'm just saying.
Seriously,
Where
we
the
have
fuck is it? Like,
2 is coming out, but not fucking 1 on Switch. Like, come
how the
on,
hell you do that? How the
guys.
hell you do the 3DS version, bro? Like,
Bruh.
and they're like, oh yeah, we got all of them.
It's like,
Hello?
no, you
Like, bro,
don't?
they just re-released Prime Remat, like Prime 1, and it got a
Yeah.
94 on Metacritic. So clearly, people want the GameCube games
Yeah, thank
now.
you.
So if anything, Eternal Darkness has to be
Make
in
it
there
fucking
somewhere.
happen,
Please.
Nintendo.
You can find a way to get the IP back, bro. Please just do it.
Just
We
make it
beg.
happen.
See, Doc. If
Okay,
anything,
you
I'll be
pick.
generous and I'll be a Nintendo fan for the stream because
You mean it's-
I like Nintendo stuff. We'll start left. Why not?
Okay, we'll start left? Okay.
Yeah, because bro, you know we could talk about 50 things for like a billion quadrillion hours. Like,
Yeah, you know me. People jokingly say I'm a Nintendo bootlicker, but like when I think about it, a lot of my favorite IPs are Nintendo owned. So
yeah,
I guess
that's true.
I am a Nintendo bootlicker.
Bro, if anything, that's me with PlayStation.
Yeah, like you get it. You get the grinds. Like sometimes you don't
like, bro, we grew up on the same shit. Like,
we might not like a
almost
company's
literally, like,
decisions, but we like the games. So you know what I mean?
100%.
Like
Actually,
I like the developers, like people who work at Nintendo. I just think,
yeah.
you know, the big wigs in charge make some dumb fucking decisions, basically. Oh my
You know
god.
what? It's interesting you're saying that because there's something that I thought about recently.
Mhm.
Because I like you guys, Dawson. I tried out the Saints Row remaster, like the reboot, and it's terrible. Like,
Oh,
it's fucking
really?
dog shit. It's so bad. Like,
Oh no.
and it caused the studio to shut down. That's how bad it is. Like, it
When did it come
And-
out?
came out last year.
Oh my
Like
God.
in the budget of the game was $100 million.
Bro, how do you fucking up with that much money?
So basically the point I'm gonna get at is that I think we're re-entering the era of like games that have like for developers that have either really explosively large budgets or like set up to fail, and we're losing like a lot of studios because of that. Like the 2000s, if you remember that, like Vex, you know, all these other games that
Yeah.
really niche games that are like really low-key games that came out, but they didn't get like they weren't mainstream enough to stick around.
Yeah, it's like THQ.
And that's how I look at it.
THQ, remember
Oh.
them? They made so many different fucking games, and now they're like, where are they? They're gone.
You do know THQ Nordic did say, or Koch Media, I think that's the name of
Media.
yeah,
Alright,
did
Koch
say
Media.
they did say they're bringing back all the Nickelodeon games, so we're supposed to
Did
be
they
getting a new
really?
Attack and the Power of Juju eventually. So I'm excited for that. Like, Doc, I don't know if you played them, but the Attack and Power of Juju game,
I've heard they
fucking
were
good.
great. I played a little
It
bit
is
of the,
the first
second
one, at least the first one. The first one's good. Like,
JoJo. I was gonna say, can Koch Media get the rights for the fucking video game rights for
all right,
JoJo?
so Doc, what's the strat here? Yeah, where do I start to get the most coins? Like,
Most coinage, you start right there and you run straight right from there, and you have
Right
to
here?
loop around. Yep. The minute you
okay,
just start holding it, yeah, like that. So the minute you stop, you're gonna be grabbing basically. You should at least get 2 lives. Sometimes if you're lucky, you get 3,
Yeah.
but usually
Okay.
2.
Bro, I fucking love
Fuck
Luigi.
media.
But yeah, it's that I noticed that it's like a really important detail. Like you probably heard about the stuff with Forspoken and how that studio shut down like a month after the game came out. Like that's how bad the game did.
Woo.
So like I just think we're re-entering that era
Yeah.
specifically of games that are like that either they need that extra love and care or like people need to give it a chance and studios are getting shut down because of it or they're just mishandling it.
I feel like, yeah, I feel like it's because, like, if it doesn't follow the trends or if it's not,
Yeah.
like, from a big studio, like you said, it's like people are just gonna look past it. It's really weird. Oh, you got
Or they-
16
or-
hearts, nice.
Or they just put like too much expectations on it.
Yeah.
Which like causes the game to fail from the get-go. Like for example, one of my personal favorite games is from the people that made SOCOM is Days Gone. I love that game. If you ever play it, you might actually like it.
Really? It's funny
yeah,
you say this because I think SOCOM's actually pretty cool. So
Yeah, so like Days Gone is like the open world type game, and the big like pull of the game was like the motorcycle and like the horde of zombies and that type of shit. Like
yeah,
it had a really unique stylistic stuff that really pulled people, but it's just like it wasn't being treated with the same respect as the other studios like Guerrilla Studios and fucking
yeah.
Santa Monica and Naughty Dog. Ugh, that.
And that's
Anyways,
because they have
I'm
these
moving
fucking.
past the Naughty Dog thing.
That's because they have these fucking, huge companies like juggernauts, like fucking Sony backing them and shit, which is like.
Yeah, like it just kind of sucks
I
that
didn't read that as Just Cause, Shiro. I'm sorry, Black. He said Days Gone was Just Cause with zombies, and I didn't read it as Just Cause. I read that as Just Dance. And that made me really question the game for a second there. I was like, Just Dance, but with zombies? I mean, like, hey, man, whatever floats your boat, Black.
No, but yeah, it just kind of sucks that Sony doesn't really give those studios a chance to really breathe correctly.
Yeah.
So when they underperform, we lose out on sequels that will be the real version of the game that we're hoping for.
I mean,
Which is something I really make a big deal about. We're just like, damn, bro, like if you gave these studios a real chance, you would actually have like way better results.
it's funny too, right? Because so you think like by default this means like, okay, so the bigger studios like Naughty Dog usually can get their saying whatever they want, right? And that might be true for Sony. But then we put it on the other perspective. We look at like, for example, let's say the Pokemon Company. I think that's the perfect example. And them motherfuckers, they don't even, people like shit on the Pokemon Company a lot and Game Freak, but I think Game Freak, like, I like to cut them some slack simply for the fact that these fucking bigwigs are like, okay, make the next gen Pokemon in like a year and a half.
Yeah.
That's not
like
enough
6
time.
months.
That's not enough time to make a fucking huge scale Pokemon game like they want in modern
No.
day. So when things like Scarlet and Violet come out, what the fuck do you expect?
That's true.
I'm like, immediately people like go to blame like the devs at Game Freak and shit. Like, oh, there's like 300 of them. They can't fucking do it at that time. It's like, bro, like video
Then
games.
again, like 300 people is still not enough people for like the scope they were working with.
Yeah.
And especially with like there's something I was talking about recently that Nintendo, their consoles never prioritize performance. The
No.
only console you can argue that prioritized it was actually the GameCube. You can correct me if I'm wrong,
No,
but I'm pretty
it's
sure
like-
that was the only one that actually like kind of more or less gave a shit if the game ran like it was supposed to.
It's ironic because there's only been, well, I guess technically there's been 3 eras, but the NES was basically in its own era, right? There was no competition back then. So
That's true.
in eras where Nintendo had
What,
competition,
Atari?
yeah,
Please,
exactly.
like-
Nobody fucking bought that.
Sorry, 2 words.
I
ET.
bought- I bought the Sega Master System,
actually, like, shut the fuck up. So when you think about like the
Oh,
eras
the
where
Jaguar will totally put Nintendo out of business. Like,
oh, my
sorry,
favorite.
bro.
Where did you learn to fly? Fucking the only 2 eras where Nintendo had the actual like powerhouse was the N64 era. They were stronger than the PS3 and the Saturn, or PS1 and the Saturn, but nobody wanted to make games for the fucking thing because cartridge space was just so expensive. Nobody wanted to make cartridge-based games when disc games were like 50 cents a pop. You know what I mean? It was like cartridges were so much more expensive. And then the GameCube era. But in the GameCube era, everybody was making shit for the PS2. So it's like, in the eras where Nintendo actually prioritized having graphically, like, superior products, they were losing. So I feel like that, like, kind of melded into their, like business structure going forward, because the Wii wasn't any different, really, from the GameCube power-wise. The fucking Wii U was, like, a generation behind. And the Switch is a generation behind, so...
I think the only mistake with the GameCube, honestly, was they're over-prioritizing on hacking and all that type of stuff to avoid all that turmoil.
Hey,
Wow,
you wanna know
I
a fun
cannot believe I
fact?
just did that.
You wanna know a fun fact? Before
What?
going in the door at the end, just stand there for, like, 10 seconds. Just trust me.
Got you. You sure I don't die? You
Then
pranking me?
just trust me. No, just trust.
Wait, stop that. That's not funny.
The game's like, why aren't you going in the fucking door? Shit's so fucking troll. But yeah, it's kind of sad, but it's like, the good news is, like, at least with the Switch, like, I will say this. For the problems that a lot of third-party games and some first-party games have, at least
There we go.
the
Let's go.
Switch runs well enough that I never really come into major issues
Yeah.
with stuff like, for example, Tears of the Kingdom. I played that game, but I really did not run into a lot of frame problems. Like,
Yeah,
there was-
for
there
me, I think it's because my console's a little older, because I bought mine on release.
mhm.
Or maybe you have the same version.
I have the fucking OLED now, so like,
Oh yeah. Like mine's runs, like it chugs, bro.
Yeah.
Like I'm running around and shit, and I'm like, man, I really hope Doc doesn't have the same issue, bro. Because he's gonna fucking break Tears of the Kingdom in half if this is gonna be the same fucking issue.
There was like 2 cities in that whole game where I could feel frame rate problems. And
Yeah.
considering the scope of that game, that's pretty fucking impressive. And on a flip side, something like Mario Odyssey, I never experienced frame issues. Like, that
Yeah.
never happened in that game. Yeah, Tears was fucking really good. It's really funny how I went into the summer, I was like, okay, yeah, I gotta, like, clear out some of my backlog, you know? And Tears was one of them, and I was like, yeah, I wasn't a fan of Breath of the Wild, we'll see how this goes. And it basically fixed all my problems with it. And I
Plus-
ended up
plus,
really
like-
liking it.
Yeah, it's like we talked about off stream that I did tell you that having a chance to probably not have to stream it and like feel rushed probably helped you
Yeah.
enjoy the game a lot more.
Yeah,
Because
I-
like
I
it's
put
a lot.
so
It's some
much
things a lot
time
of people
into
don't
it.
understand is that when you're streaming it as a content creator, you feel inclined to try to make it more entertaining than it needs to be.
Yeah, and you're
Or you
like,
feel
oh, I gotta
forced to,
finish,
like,
I gotta finish
exaggerate the
game
experience.
quickly, you know?
Yeah, like there's like a really big time lapse thing that a lot of people don't understand. So for me, that's why I like specific games that came out at the time. I knew that if you played it on stream, you probably wouldn't enjoy it too much. But if you played it off stream, you'd be like, like this was actually pretty fun. Like that's how I look at it.
The thing with a game like Tears, it started off progression-wise for me, it's the same as Breath of the Wild, in terms of,
Yeah.
and not in a bad way, in terms of, I died a lot at the beginning, because
Yeah.
I have a lack of hearts, obviously your defense is piss poor, you have barely
Oh,
any
yeah.
weapons, so,
Yeah, bro, you have the ick.
yeah, you have the ick. And so, honestly, when I think about it, that wouldn't have been fun for people to watch. My first experience with that game being me
Yeah.
dying for the first, like, 5 hours of the game, you know?
I feel that.
And eventually, that slow, steady climb, when I started to get equipment and I started to get weapons, then
Yeah.
things just fell into place, you know? Which is
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I think that's the best way to describe it. You know, doing shrines, getting hearts. I
Yeah.
don't know. That game was a lot better. My one problem with Breath of the Wild, my major glaring issue, outside of the fact that puzzles, for me, felt like fucking baby brain, and the dungeons
Yeah.
just were like, the dungeons might as well not exist in Breath of the Wild, because they
Yeah.
were just, it was like the same menial task of like, oh,
Yeah.
go to the fucking terminal like 17 times, right? It was like, oh yeah, like,
Yeah.
but the thing with Tears that fixed it for me was that the actual overworld felt worth exploring. In Breath
Yeah.
of the Wild, there wasn't a lot of incentive for me to actually explore. Like, I was like, well, what do I gain out of exploring? And a lot of it
yeah.
just felt
No, I
very
get that.
mundane. In Tears, there was so much hidden shit. Like I literally went on a side quest just to get the fucking Fierce DD sword because I was like, oh, why the fuck not? That's in the game, you know?
Yeah. I think what happened to you was that okay, actually I'm glad that you just said that because it's gonna circle back to a point I already had made. Was that the first game you can see the potential, but you didn't particularly enjoy it, or it's just that you can tell that the sequel will do better. That is my opinion with Days Gone specifically, that you can see the groundwork, like the planning session of the game. And you're like, oh, if they get a second go at it, that this is the real version of the game we're gonna be experiencing. Which bums me out that Days Gone's not gonna get that sequel to fulfill that vision that I see of the game. Like,
you know, in your gut, you knew if it had that second chance, it would have knocked it out of the park. You know?
Oh yeah, like which is probably why, the team that made Tears of the Kingdom, they said no DLC because there's no need for it. They completed the game that they set out to envision, and then now they're working on the next Zelda.
Dude, and I fucking respect
because technically
that.
now they're moving on to the next thing, because Breath of the Wild was the blueprint.
Yeah.
And Tears of the Kingdom was the perfect, like, the second chance.
It was.
Even though that they were guaranteed it, because it's Zelda. Like, Zelda almost never fails sales-wise.
It's really funny because Tears of the Kingdom started out a lot like Galaxy too, in the sense of they were both originally planned as DLC, but the scope became so large they said, fuck it, make it a sequel. But I think the riveting difference between the two, the thing that divides them, is Tears of the Kingdom feels like this complete product. Like you said, I felt the same way about Breath of the Wild, where I'm like, the potential's here, but it just feels like a tech demo for me. I was like, it just feels like a tech demo. It just feels
like a preview.
Empty. Yeah, it's like a preview of like what this franchise can become. And then Tears kind of capitalized on that and made the vision clear. It was like, yeah, here it is. This is the game, right?
Yeah.
But when I played something like,
real quick,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
To interject. Which level am I doing? Am I going after you, or am I gonna?
You can. Go. Basically, how I handle this with anybody I stream, you beat the levels you want, and I'm the cleanup crew. I will, whatever you don't want to do or whatever you skip, I will go back. Because
continue your point though.
I'm very meticulous, and I always basically 100% this game. But
I wanted the fucking cave. Like,
it's okay. I understand. It's funny though because I
love how he throws a baseball. By the way.
Yeah, he's a football player. That apparently Miyamoto just thought American football players looked really cool when designing Charge and Chuck. So he was like, yeah,
he thinks a lot of things look cool. I noticed that about Miyamoto. Like,
yeah, he sees one thing, he's like, wait, that's fucking awesome. Make that a character.
Yeah, I like that. That's pretty cool.
Dude, the Gleeoks were cool. That was another thing about Tears I really liked. The fact that, like, mini-bosses were so, like... There were so many more mini-boss varieties and stuff, I felt. It just felt worth going to different areas and seeing them all.
Alright, okay, we're losing Yoshi then.
It's an umpire? Oh my god. Well, I don't know. But what I was just saying is, unlike Tears, though, when I played Galaxy 2 back in the day, that did feel like a glorified DLC, but Tears didn't feel like a glorified. Tears felt like not only did it stand on its own 2 feet, it just knocked out everything out of the park to the point where Breath of the Wild just seems in comparison, you know. Whereas Galaxy 1, I'd still rather play than Galaxy 2, you know.
No.
Yeah, that's how you make Chain Chomps too. Bro was literally fucking traumatized as a kid from this dog that would chase him every day. He comes up with a lot of weird stuff.
He's a weird man.
Making an enemy. And, you know, he's a goofy guy. I love him.
Actually, if anything, this is bring up something that we've talked about before off stream. That it's really annoying that he had said it himself that that F-Zero, like, they would need something new to make a new F-Zero, and it's annoying because he's right. Because Sega, they fucking made a perfect game. They nailed GX so well that they created a whole new standard for a series that didn't have many standards to begin with.
Exactly, and that's the thing. Anything from here on, I feel like if they just made like a new GX, like, yeah, that would sell copies. But I see where Miyamoto's coming from, where it's like, well, what's it going to innovate? Because GX innovated so much.
Everything.
It changed the face of the fucking franchise. And then,
unless Sega does it again, I'm pretty sure the people that made the original game aren't there in Sega anymore.
Yeah,
so like, it's almost impossible. It's like a lightning in the bottle situation.
That was like the team that made F-Zero GX was like the same team that like worked with Yu Suzuki on shit like Outrun and stuff, you know? So they had a great understanding.
Bro, you said my
of, like,
trigger word.
Yu Suzuki.
No, fucking Outrun.
Oh, Outrun.
Oh, I need
So-
to do Outrun, bro.
Dude, yeah. Well, that's the thing. They had such a firm grasp on like racing arcade games that they made a fucking race. I mean, come on. GX was so popular in Japan, they literally fucking said,
Made an arcade cabinet
yeah,
out of it,
they
right?
they made an arcade cabinet. They were like, take the fucking GameCube, gut that shit, and make an arcade machine. Like, that's how popular it was.
If anything, that shows how impressive the GameCube actually was for its time.
The GameCube was apparently very easy to work with, which is very funny compared to the N64, which not a lot of developers wanted to work with because it was just
Oh yeah,
too hard.
the
to make
N64 was
with.
basically the PS3
Yeah,
in
yeah.
terms of like depth-wise.
And it's ironic you say that because you know how PS3 emulation is like just so hard to work with because it's just like a coding nightmare. It's just like spaghetti. The N64 was like that for the longest time until some fucking master
Nerd, some random nerd.
some random nerd literally like reverse engineered the entire thing. Essentially.
I deserve that. I'm stupid.
Bro was really dedicated, and Sega Saturn fans to this day are still like, can somebody reverse engineer our console, please?
Yeah. It's like
Did I
consoles that
stutter?
are definitely
Yeah.
ahead of their time as shit, Doc, we had our own little nerd session about it. The fucking Dreamcast.
I miss it.
The fucking like dude,
I'm gonna be
the-
real.
if there's a pantheon of games that are consoles that have like were made ahead of their time, it was
It
the
was
PS2,
Yeah.
the PS1, the Dreamcast, the GameCube.
The Dreamcast?
I think so.
I agree. No, I agree. I think the Dreamcast is like, to me, the perfect example of this fucking console should have been successful because it had everything, but it wasn't because at the time people were more interested in other things, you know? Like
It came out like the end of like the decade, like I think a year before the PS2 came out.
Yep.
Like
and
they
that's-
released it at the worst physical possible time. It was set to like if they released it maybe a bit after the PS2 or like they didn't make the fucking Jaguar and instead released the Dreamcast instead, they probably would have put Sony on their fucking toes if you
Well,
thought about it.
I gotta give Tom Kalinske credit. Former like the former like CEO of Sega America. He tried to warn Sega and said straight up, "Listen, guys,
You know what's funny? You said that.
What?
Mapping Muscles, his video on what would happen. I've seen that video.
I tried to do that just for funnies. You can die
Yeah.
on the credits result screen. It's really funny. It's
Yeah,
really
bro. Like
stupid, but-
his video on the Dreamcast from Mapping Muscles, the What Happened series. I
Yeah.
watched that video. So you saying that, I remember hearing that,
Yeah.
and I was like, damn, bro. Like, I was like, Japan really had like its pride about their consoles back then that they should have really just listened, dude.
Tom Kalinske, you know, a lot of Sega purists will be like, "Oh, he was wrong," because you know, Sega cannot do any wrong in the eyes of like the Sega purists. But Tom Kalinske was right on a lot of things. One, the fact that they turned down the offer with Sony to make a console, that was not a good idea. Nintendo did it, but that's because Nintendo just had the manpower to pretty much withstand the next generation. Sega, in theory, was still in an infant state. Even though Genesis was super popular, had they done that, I don't think Nintendo would have been pretty much kicked out the door and in Sega's position by the end of the 90s, as crazy as it is to say. But, you know, they decided, no, we can make our own console. And that was the problem. They couldn't go up against two juggernauts. They could deal with one, but when it came down to Sony and Nintendo, it just wasn't a smart idea.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And-
Like, if anything, that's something that I can understand where you're coming from with,
Yeah.
because I grew up in that era. And the only console I never had a chance to grow up with was literally the Dreamcast. I played everything
Yeah.
except the Dreamcast. So like when I see it through with no revisionist history or nothing, just from a fresh perspective, I'm like, how the fuck did this console fail, bro?
And it's
Like-
it
Like
literally
what
just
happened?
It comes down to just marketing and everything
Timing.
else against it.
Timing matters, bro.
The
It's a
timing
motherfucker.
was terrible. Kalinske back then said, instead of working on the Saturn, stop wasting your time on the Saturn.
Yeah, the
Before
Saturn
the
was dead.
Saturn was even out. It's funny though, because before the Saturn was even out, they already had blueprints for the Dreamcast, which I find
Yes,
ironic.
true.
And Kalinske said, well, why are you going to make this console? Wait one more year. I understand you won't have anything on the market outside the 32X and CD. And I get
was worth
Nintendo and
It was worth the risk.
yeah,
I get that Nintendo and fucking, PlayStation are like in the lead right now. But wait one more year and release the Dreamcast, and I can guarantee that you guys will succeed. And they just didn't want to hear it. They had to release something, and the Saturn was that something, And because of that, they stretched their dev teams too thin. Had they just went on all the engineers, just all in on fucking Dreamcast, the Dreamcast would have came out in like 97, right? Instead of 98.
It would have had the, 3-4 years difference?
Yeah, 3-4 years difference, and it would have blown everything out of the water.
But plus, it was like the stuff we did talk about on the Dreamcast is the fact that it had like internet connectivity. It had the internet browser. You could play online, piece of like Phantasy Star and shit.
It had
Like imagine you
Xbox
did
had.
that shit. Imagine you did that shit 3-4 years sooner. Like that's insane.
If you
No
would've done that
memberships,
in-
none of that fucking stupid crap.
No.
Like
You would have done that in
imagine
97.
Sega did it first.
Fucking did that shit in 97. It would have been because, and here's the other thing. The Dreamcast. Okay, so to go into some nerd stuff and talk about bits for a minute, because, I'm a fucking dork. Just to talk about, like, the graphical difference at the time, people were blown away when Mario 64 came out, and that shit was 64 bits, right?
That's true.
Fucking PS1 comes out, it's 32. But the games are so fun and successful, and it's so easy to make games for it that people,
The polygons, bro.
Yeah, the
It's
polygons.
bro. Oh my god,
64
Lara Croft, she's so hot.
It's like the meme, yeah, 64 bits, right? But now, let's just think of an era where the Saturn didn't come out. Saturn doesn't come out and doesn't try to contend with
32X, the Jaguar, the extension, like
yeah,
everything.
the CD, none of this comes out, right? Let's just say none of that comes out. None of these
I'm
extra
sorry, Yoshi.
little silly add-ons, right? Okay, in this timeline we lose Sonic CD, and I'm sorry. I like CD, but that's a sacrifice I'm willing
It was
to
worth
make.
the risk.
Yeah,
They could.
it was-
They actually. I have an idea for you, bro. I can double down on that.
yeah.
If they didn't release CD, they could have remade Sonic 1, made Sonic CD, and that would have been the first Sonic Mania.
Do you know what's ironic? That's how CD started. I don't know if that you said it because of that, but CD started as a remake of Sonic 1, which is very fucking
I
ironic.
didn't know
to me.
that actually.
Yes. Fucking Naoto Oshima wanted to make a remake of Sonic 1, and that with, CD capabilities.
See, Doc, that shows I'm a real Sonic fan because I fucking said that without even knowing that information. Like,
You just needed, it was just the feeling of it all,
oh,
But,
yeah, like,
this was an era where 64 bits blew people away, right? Mario 64 was seen as this technical juggernaut. Now, and that came out in 96. Now, imagine in an era where the Dreamcast was the main thing focused on, no Saturn, none of the extra shit, like we said, right?
Mhm.
And within 1 year of Mario 64 coming out, you get Sonic Adventure at 128 bits. It doubles the standard within a fucking year. Do you know how much people will be blown away? Because even back then, graphics were a big thing to people. That would have blown people the fuck away.
bro, I have another one for that.
Yeah.
The Sega Mega Collection,
Mm.
if it came on the Dreamcast.
Dude, it would have been fucking insane.
And mind you, the Sega Mega Collection I think didn't come out until like the PS3. So like
Yeah.
until like the PSP. So
You could have fucking made a collection of all the Genesis games or Mega Drive, where the fuck you're from and whatever you want to call it. But people would have bought that shit and ate it up. They would have adored it. And it's insane to think about because, like, Sega just needs to be a little more patient and put in a little more faith into the American division.
yeah, if anything, what they should have done was they should have been willing to take more of the risk.
Yeah,
'Cause
and
they took risks anyways because like making extensions of the Sega Genesis basically was the bigger risk than anything else.
yeah, and
So
what really killed them was they were hellbent because Mario had a new like 3D outing, Crash
Yeah.
Bandicoot was coming on the scene. They were dead set. They're like, we need a Sonic game.
it
to
was Sonic
rival
3D
these."
Blast, wasn't it?
It was
3D
3D Blast was actually a backtrack idea after Sonic Extreme. The
Yeah.
original was
Thank
Extreme,
you. It was Sonic
yeah.
Extreme. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I forgot.
They were like, we need this game. We need something to rival Mario 64 with our mascot. It was like a dick measuring contest.
The fact that there was more Sonic canceled games than Mario period shows how much Sega it was their
Dropped the
pride,
ball.
bro.
It was.
It was their Saiyan pride. Like,
Yeah, I mean, Sega kind of is the Vegeta in this like analogy.
Saiyan pride or my Saiyan thighs.
Like Nintendo is probably Goku, and fucking they're just Vegeta, you know?
Yep.
Insanely cool, and everybody does love them. That's very dedicated, but taking so many L's. It's like
It is not. Okay, and it's funny, right? Not to sneeze. It's nothing to sneeze at for Nintendo. It's not like they didn't take any risks. Like, bruh, fucking Super Smash Brothers for the
Yeah.
64 was a big risk because remember it was what called Dragon King Fighter,
Yeah.
and Sakurai is like, I have to make this game sell. And then I think what was the interview? I think you could attest to this because I don't remember specifically what he said, but he literally said, "Oh, I put the characters in the game without telling them, so fuck it. If it works, great." Because guess was another series that did something similar to that. That like, oh, we're not gonna tell our developers that we're doing this.
Yep.
It was Souls. Like Miyazaki, he literally said he told his team to keep working, and that when Sony went to do like their little conference review things for the builds of the game, they would just lie. They
Yeah.
lied for over a whole year to Sony, and Miyazaki's like, oh, if we get caught, then fuck it. At least we tried.
Yeah, at
But
least
no,
we tried.
Demon Souls came out and eventually ended up making Dark Souls and changed everything.
And it's funny because in an era where games like, for example, right, in an era where stuff in the 2000s like Mega Man were becoming obsolete because nobody wanted to play, you know, hard games, Demon Souls comes out and basically reignites the entire hard,
it
like,
legit
genre.
reinvented a whole genre of difficulty.
Yeah.
That everybody's like, oh wait, no, this can actually work though. Like,
Well, it used to be hard games aren't fun, and then
yeah,
that came
like
out
the
and made the
Dooms,
yeah
the Unreal Tournaments, the Quakes,
the Quakes, and then
the Super Metroids, like the
Yeah.
games like Castlevania, like the games that are like, oh, they're known for difficulty.
Yeah.
Not like, oh, it's poor game design. It was like, oh no, like it's a skill game. Like
Yeah.
you will be checked on
Yeah,
your skill.
and that's like Mega Man's whole fucking like thing. That's Mega Man's
Yeah.
shtick. Mega Man's shtick is to be balls breakingly hard, you know?
Also, Capcom, we know you're watching.
Yeah.
Where's Mega Man Legends 3, bro? Just leak it, please. Just
know
leak it
what?
on the
You
internet.
know what?
We
Yeah.
won't talk. We don't need to talk about it. Just do it and just let it happen. Like,
I just want to know what Rockman Tyson really is, because we know that there's a Mega Man game in development. It got fucking leaked from the data mine.
Yep.
This was the same data mine with fucking RE3, RE4 remake, Street Fighter 6. We know it's there. What the fuck is it? Why?
that's so. Oh my god, I forgot about the Street Fighter fucking 5 leak. You're fucking right.
Yeah, everything.
There's like what 3 or 4 games that still haven't been announced yet
Yup.
from that leak. Funny enough, on Event Hubs, I checked like 3 months ago
Mhm.
that one of the producers and developers at Capcom said, we're gonna release one more game this year and it's gonna
Oh.
sell. It said a new franchise, and I'm like, bullshit. There's no way you could release a new franchise in 1 year. So I'm thinking hypothetically, it might be Darkstalkers or another fighting game or another classic game series. That
Dude, they're gonna bring
that
back
is gonna
Power
have-
Stone finally.
Yes. Yes, I'll do that, bro.
Dude,
Please.
please.
I-
I would
like
fucking
Rival
pop up.
Schools, Power Stone,
Yeah.
and then like we're just thinking about like all the niche series. It's like Sega. We're still waiting for Sega to commit to Jet Set Radio again. Like some of the Amigo just came back. Crazy Taxi hasn't gotten a new game in literally decades.
Since
like
the
what was the last one? I
Dreamcast?
think. What was the last one? I think what Crazy Taxi 3 or 4. Like, and I think
Something
that was
like
like
that.
more of an. I think that was like more of an arcade cabinet game. Like, see, you're a Sega guy, so I know I can say this information because I
Yeah.
know you know what I'm talking about. Because I remember checking this information before.
Yeah.
Like,
There are a lot of obscure titles that just like never fucking make another Monster Hunter spin-off series. The sad part, okay, I know you're a Monster Hunter fan, Dawson,
bro,
so
you
I
have,
don't
there's
mean
like
this in
4
the-
of them. You don't need any
Yeah,
more. What
I
the
don't mean
fuck?
this in the I don't mean this in a mean way, but like I wouldn't be fucking surprised if Capcom did that because Monster Hunter
Yeah,
just
that's
makes so much money that they're like,
Well,
okay,
now.
well, yeah,
Funny-
now it's funny
Because like
not.
he's like, Doc, we grew up with old Monster Hunter, like with the ones that were like super niche. That's
Yeah.
like old Monster Hunter Tri for the Wii,
Monster
and then
Hunter-
like Monster Hunter Unite for the PSP. Like it was a PSP
I,
like fucking Wii game series, and then the 3DS games came out,
I
and then the Wii U version of Monster Hunter 3 came out, like
That
third
was the
Ultimate.
fucking I remember the Wii U game coming out. My friend had a Wii U, and we used to go to his house for parties and shit there in college. And I specifically remember, this is a funny conversation, my friend watching him play the game, and
Yeah.
he says to him, "Oh, what's this?" And he's like, "Oh, it's just like this. It's like this niche game I picked up. It looked pretty cool. You like fight monsters
Yeah.
and stuff. It's like Monster Hunter 3." And I was like,
And at the time, I was like, oh, okay, looks kind of cool. But looking back, that conversation was hilarious. Yeah, because back then the franchise was fucking niche, and
Yeah.
now it's like
Dude,
the most.
I'm
biggest selling
glad you're
Capcom
saying this.
franchise.
Yeah, like I don't know what year that was. But do
2013,
you
2014. It was
do
like
you remember
yeah.
the old commercial for Monster Hunter Try for the Wii? It was the Vikings that were fishing with the
Yeah.
Wii remotes. I remember that shit. I like, bro. I remember this like it's yesterday.
We've come a long way.
Oh
Also,
yeah, dude. Like,
if you don't know where to go, I would just say keep
yeah,
going
just
to.
take the pipe.
Yeah, you could just go to the pipe wherever you
figured.
want to go.
Oh no. That's
Oh,
fine.
you got this. Don't worry. I
Yeah,
believe in you.
we'll do the secret world. What was I gonna say? It was funny, Doc. Bro, if anything, you guys can hear this first. Doc's stream, not my stream, because Doc's the special person tonight, not me. Don't listen to what this man is saying. This man's fucking crazy.
Dude,
No, if we ever did like a podcast or some shit, it would literally probably just be on fucking nostalgia-based topics, shit that basically boomers talk about.
Boomer fucking blast.
Mid 20-year-olds just talking about fucking
Talking about
shit
the
that are meant for like
olden
30-40-year-olds.
days. Yeah, exactly. Meant for 30 or 40.
Back in my day, the Eagles uniforms was the best.
Kelly
It was just
Green.
funny because we literally had a conversation about that.
Bro, I'm fucking ready. I don't know what year. I don't know what game. I mean, that shit's coming back, but I'm ready. Resident Zoomer. Okay, Dawson, you could say you're the Resident Zoomer, but we both know who the real Resident Zoomer is. Okay, we all know I'm talking about Mecha, right?
Oh yeah.
I wish he showed
Bro,
up in chat.
the-
He always
The
shows
one that
up when I
fucks me
say
up
it.
is the fact that he said that he didn't know what Jet Set Radio was, bro. My brain exploded when he said that. I'm like, he said what?
Oh man, he said, what was the one that really got me? He said some crazy shit. But the one that...
I got you, bro. It was Space Channel 5.
Oh my god, he didn't even know that? Okay, that actually... You know what? That doesn't surprise me that he doesn't know that. Because, like, if you don't know Jet Set Radio, then you won't know Space Channel 5.
Oh, 100%.
What was the one?
Forget ooh la la.
God. There was one... I'm trying to remember. It was like... And it really blew my fucking mind. The fuck, man? I can't fucking remember. I think it was like... Okay, I'll remember. But it was something really funny. I was like something Mario related. And he was like... Man, I think it was like something like he didn't know there was a Paper Mario before Thousand Year Door or something, and it like
Oh yeah, that's true.
man, it, like blew my
You know what?
mind.
But if anything, that's like a form of a Mandela effect. Because if you think about it, that's true. Because a lot of people forget that a lot of these franchises and series were supposed to be on the 64, or they did come out on the 64.
Yeah,
It's like Kirby's Air Ride. Kirby's Air Ride was
Michael.
was supposed to be on the 64.
it was. Have you ever
It
seen
was- it was-
Have you ever seen footage of that shit on the 64?
I have.
Yeesh.
So,
that was a fucking rough one.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how because I feel like if we ever do a podcast, we would actually talk about this because it's a very serious topic of discussion. Is the fact that like I know your gripes with Sakurai, but the fact that he like his idea to make Kirby's Air Ride was like, hey, let's just take the fucking Melee engine and just make it a racer,
You
and it
gotta-
fucking worked. And I'm like, why is that so odd? Like really, really random, but super fucking unique. That you took a whole different engine. You took the same engine for a game that was an accident, basically, that you made in less than a year,
Yeah.
and you still made it work. And you made a underrated racer.
Well, that's like okay. That's like kind of like I think with Sakurai, it's like really weird, right? I think a lot of Sakurai's early works were like really solid. I think it's like once you start hitting the 2010s. I think the last thing Sakurai made that I really liked was Kid Icarus Uprising. I actually really liked that game.
That is a really good game. Like,
And since then, he's made 2 Smash games that, I mean, while, yeah, they're good for people who want to play Smash competitively or whatever else, I feel like my problem was Smash was always like a big celebration of the franchise and had like all these really cool single-player game modes and trophies, and I feel like we've
dude, I
diverged
miss
away
Target.
from
I miss
that,
Target
you
practice
know?
so much.
Yeah,
I think
Oh,
the
here
next
he is.
game.
Beck is here. I'm sorry. Go ahead,
No, you're
go
fine.
ahead.
No, I feel like the next game. I feel like it's gonna be a return to form. I genuinely think so.
Honestly, I've
Because
literally
like shit, I don't know if you've watched any of his interviews recently, but he said it himself. He's like, hey, a lot of these characters are gonna be impossible to bring back. So like, enjoy them now. Because they're not coming back. Like Sora and shit. Sora's not coming back, bro.
No,
That took way too much time and manpower to fucking make happen.
Yeah, with fucking mid-ass Disney. Like, I have fucking arm and a leg just to make that shit happen. They had
Yeah,
to
but-
fucking remove any... You know what's ironic about that? They had to remove any possible fucking Mickey Mouse reference. However, in the archives of Brawl, you know how they had a list of all... It was a little shit like that, by the way, that I missed. Like, you know... all the little niche stuff that
Yeah.
like made the game really feel like a
An experience.
celebration of it was like a celebration of Nintendo, not just like
Yeah.
a fucking game that a bunch of sweaty people played that like don't shower. You know what
It's
I mean?
interesting. It's also like to double on that is the fact that even though like Sakurai got put onto Brawl like really late because remember he found out during E3
Yeah.
that was gonna happen, so he's like, wait, so like you're not making this game without me, right? Like you fucking try my ass, like that ain't
Yeah.
happening. And then he still managed to make a game that is like, bro, that has aged so well that we need right now. We
It's-
need a game
think
like Brawl.
Brawl was the
Like,
last
it's
like
cool.
Brawl.
Like Ultimate's fucking cool, but it's just like, damn, bro. Like you can tell we need like a more casual Smash game. Like we just need like that story mode. We need
Yeah.
all like the extra, really unique shit that made Smash Smash.
I want something that celebrates Nintendo's history again, not something that's
Yeah.
just made to sell, like I said, the sweaty man children, which is what the last two have felt like. It's like, cut corners, you know, let Smash die. I mean, at this point, like, I'd rather Smash die than get a third one of the last two. You know what I mean?
No, I genuinely, I think because I've heard what Sakurai has said recently that he's like, oh, he can't see himself like being retired and they make a new Smash game without him. I feel like he'd probably return to form and actually like be willing to go back to like what he made Smash for. Because remember, he said it himself, he made Smash to appeal to casuals
Yeah.
because he was a fucking FGC sweat. He's like
Yeah.
fucking Fatal Fury and shit. Like he beat
Yeah.
a guy's ass in the arcade,
Yeah,
and
I
he was with
heard
his
about
girlfriend just
that.
having a good time, just pressing buttons and shit. And he's
This
like,
bro.
oh,
This bro literally embarrassed him in front of his girl, you know? Are you
So
still
for-
there? Oh, sorry.
yeah. So for me, I just think it's like if they do make a new Smash in the next couple years or so, or maybe when the Switch 2 finally gets revealed, like who knows, man? I can see target practice coming back. I can see like we need subspace to come back. That's all I ask for. Like we just need a new subspace. That's it.
Uh,
I don't care about anything else. We need a new subspace.
the thing
We do.
for me is like, oh yeah, okay. So basically, this one only technically works as a shortcut.
Sure.
If you want to, if there's something that you want to, you could try and get the secret exit in this level. I could show you where it is. That one with the brown and the red looks like a butthole.
Oh, the fuck.
Or you can do the castle or this one. Doesn't matter.
All right. If anything, I'll try to pass this one, and then
Yeah,
I'll
no
let you do the castle because I did the castle the last one.
Oh yeah, that guy's
Oh,
invincible.
oh, God.
Yeah, he's a gamer.
I completely forgot.
Also,
about that.
yeah, Egg, it's really funny how he just decided to, hey, let's, like, use the Melee engine for Kirby Air Ride, because might as well, you know? Who's he to say whether a game's competitive or not? Well, the thing is, right,
And
like,
the
I
thing
get...
is-
No, I get where you're coming from, Mecha, but the thing is, he makes it with the... Or at least, the first few he made with the intention of not being for a competitive fighting game. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, people make anything competitive, but that's not to say that, like, that was his intention. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
Melee was just an accident.
Yeah, Melee was a beautiful accident.
True.
That game had
It is
a lot of content for people like me, but also played really well. So, you have to hit him from the bottom. He's kind of cringe.
Just gonna have to go for it.
I mean, people make pissing competitive. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's fine. It's okay.
Hey, he
I
was like,
tried.
hey, I made this whole engine. Like, I might as well use it and not let it go to waste. Which
Shit,
is
you remember
smart.
Dreamland? I think the original Dreamland, Return to Dreamland, was on the Melee engine, right?
Yes.
Because it was based off the what was it, the arcade mode for Melee. That's what it looked like. So
Yeah.
it's just interesting, like when you look at retrospective history and seeing like what could have been for certain series if they came out earlier or if they came out later.
Yeah.
It's really for Smash specifically. There's a lot of stuff just connected to that one fucking man, and
It's-
it fascinates me.
But
That's why every time that's why when he makes like videos about like game development stuff, I get curious
It's
because like I'm like, damn, I didn't expect him of all people to talk about this shit so openly.
Yeah, it's funny to me because with like something like Return to Dreamland, he's never worked on another Kirby game since Air Ride,
despite being on the work for the original Return to Dreamland, he never went back. So the fact that they were able to keep the concept and idea so faithful, even when HAL Labs like ended up getting like different directors and stuff, Return to Dreamland ended up being one of the best games in the franchise, you know? So the fact that they were basically able to kind of retroactively work without Sakurai and make the series still be really, really good, which is very impressive to me. I mean, like, Sakurai didn't technically work on a lot of Kirby games in the grand scheme of things. He worked on, like, maybe 3. He worked on, 4. He worked on the original Dreamland, Adventure, Superstar, and Air Ride. And, like, that's it, you know? Everything else past that, he's never even touched the Kirby franchise.
Yeah.
So it's crazy to think about how this series has been able to really carry on without its creator and not lose its true meaning at all. Also, to answer your question, Mecha, it's very funny you bring that up because I'm pretty certain it wasn't Sakurai who was aware of wave dashing and L canceling originally.
Yeah.
It was actually Iwata who pointed out these weird intricacies of the game. And Sakurai was like, oh, well, yeah, people probably won't figure that out. Which is really fucking
I
funny
remember
to me.
that.
Iwata,
I remember that shit.
Iwata
That's
was
funny.
a very particular guy. Like, Iwata is definitely the kind of guy...
Iwata was a very necessary force.
Yes. Iwata, I miss that guy. God bless that man. I'm gonna miss him because he was really one of a kind, but... He worked on a lot of games that, like, a lot of people don't talk about just how significant. Not only was he as the president of Nintendo, but in game development. This motherfucker worked on Kirby Superstar. He worked on Earthbound. He worked on both the original Smash games. Like, this guy worked on a lot of stuff.
The crazy is the double on that. The fact that he willingly let a lot of these games get developed like that. He said, "Oh fuck it, let's do it. Like let's see if the ship goes down. Fuck it. Like that's basically that was his mentality."
He went blow for blow with like upper management when he was not even president yet, simply because he knew the creative ideas these guys like had behind them would work if they were released. So he was like, "I'll take the blows for you guys. You work on the game, and I'll let them shit on me." You know.
Yeah, that's 100% what he did, bro. Like shit. I think the reason why Sakurai was even able to make Smash was that like I think it's because he knew Iwata.
Iwata backed, yeah.
And then Iwata just let him like work low key.
And I miss Iwata. He was such a fantastic guy. I mean, Star Fox 64 really only even happened. This is another great example. People fucking after Star Fox 2 was canceled, Nintendo, the upper heads of like Nintendo, Furukawa and Hiroshi Yamauchi and them, they were just like, okay, the first one didn't really sell that well. Just like scrap this franchise. It's fucking dead. And Miyamoto really liked Star Fox 64, so he wanted to also, you like how I got this for us? Now we have
funny enough, funny enough, my grandmother used to use this level all the time to farm like one-ups.
Your grandma plays Super Mario World?
Oh yeah, she loves this fucking game, bro.
Bro, holy your grandma's fucking the GOAT. What the fuck? Bro, like, can we get your grandma on here?
She probably still knows how to play it.
Oh, that's amazing. God damn.
Well, yes, I'm gonna cheese the one-up thing because
I can show you an easier way to get one-ups if you want.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking about it. So I just feel like just for the nostalgia, I'm gonna do it like this.
I'm sorry, Mecha. So basically, to talk about what you were discussing, it wasn't actually originally Sakurai knew of it during development, but he wasn't the one who actually discovered it. So Iwata, who was back then still a major hand and had a major hand in game development, worked very hands-on with Melee. He was basically the second director behind Sakurai. He was the one that discovered L-canceling and wave dashing and shit. And Iwata was like, look at these intricacies of the game and all this shit.
Wait, wasn't it like publicly known that I think it was either Brawl or Melee that Sakurai and his wife worked on by themselves?
Yeah, his wife worked on Brawl for the most part.
What a fucking champ, bro.
He actually gives his wife more credit. He said, my wife worked on 60% of it. In the grand scheme of things, she was directing for 60% of the time, and I was directing for 40. Just fucking hilarious. Did his wife design tripping? Oh no. But yeah, fucking...
No, she probably thought it was stupid, though.
Iwata fucking, like, literally found out all these intricacies of Melee. Yeah, like you said, mother fucker was out here wave dash and shit. And Sakurai was like, oh man, that's cool. But he was like, he didn't want to make that the focus, even though Iwata really did. Iwata really liked all those intricacies. Sakurai wanted to keep that basic concept of the casual idea that, you were talking about, Black. So he was just like,
Yeah, but people probably aren't gonna notice that's in the game, so let's just like not bring it up. Let's just like not make it let's not really be like actively open about how it exists in the game. So he kept developing it as if these intricacies didn't exist. He didn't remove them. He didn't see a reason. Plus, the game only had a 9-month development. You know,
Sure.
is that much misogynist? Mecha, you're already misogynistic. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. How many times have we fucking had like said something, and you're just like fucking? Okay, no, I don't mean it like that. You know what I mean. How many times have I been like resident woman hater, and you're like, yeah, that's right, I hate women. I mean, we know you're joking. You don't hate women, but you know. I'm just saying, man. The allegations
No.
tactically can exist. That's true.
Wait, I've never. Doc, what does that moon do? I've never seen that moon before.
I'd say that's a 3-up. It gives you 3 lives instead of 1.
Dude, I played this game for years. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I don't know what they were smoking when they... Okay, that's actually a good way to describe this game in general. I don't know what they were smoking when they made this game, because there was a lot of really
Gamer
weird...
strats.
Yeah, seriously.
I killed myself. God damn it.
There's a lot of weird intricacies in Super Mario World that just never returned to the franchise, which is like
You mean
hilarious
it's a
to
fever
me.
dream.
Yeah, there's just a lot. This game really
The
is
best
a
fever dream ever.
I mean, I think I brought this up when I was playing it with my friend like a week or two ago, but
Yeah.
it's really funny. This is when you ask like some of the guys who like the big names who worked on, you know, Mario's like life cycle, you know, some of them will say Super Mario Brothers 1, some will say Mario 3. Miyamoto is insistent for the last 3 decades that Super Mario World was his favorite to work on, with Mario 64 being a close second.
I don't
However,
blame him.
despite this, Miyamoto's also went on record saying that Mario World was so stressful to work on that it actually made him get a smoking addiction. He smoked so often for the sake of stress during Mario World.
I think I know why. I think I can actually explain.
Yeah.
I think it was so much like passion behind the project that he wanted to see it done.
Yeah.
I think that's why he said that.
Yeah.
It's because he cared that much about seeing this game get finished. Like he saw the vision.
He literally
That's
wanted
that's
this game
exactly
to be
what happened.
perfect,
Yeah.
essentially. And it,
You know,
to the point that he
Miyamoto,
was
I respect that
stressed.
answer. I like that.
He's-
The stuff that's most satisfying are the ones that always stress you out.
To this day, he still feels this was the perfect Mario game, but yeah, you'll see. You went for a smoke after you died like 30 times? You think Miyamoto died like 30 times? You think Miyamoto's like actually pretty good at Mario games? That's the question I want to know.
I think he's probably a little he probably was like pretty decent at it, but
Yeah.
I think old age. Like if you ask him to play it now, he was
Yeah.
like, bro, why would you do that? Like
Well, yeah, he probably got the, yeah. I mean, listen, give him this, right? At least he's not Toriyama. At least the guy's not fucking senile. Give him that. He rubs his nipples, right?
yeah, every time he beats a level in Mario, he rubs his nipples.
Every time. Also,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
Mario
gonna-
Maker. See, that's what we were just talking about Mario Maker earlier before stream. I think Mario Maker 2 does a really great job of just allowing you to make your own fucking Mario World ROM hack. More so than Mario Maker 1, because of all the added shit they put into the
Is it
game.
better than Mario Kaizo though? That's the question.
You can make Kaizo Mario and fucking Mario
There you go.
Maker, and Jesus. I've played. Okay, Mario Maker is like crazy because Mario Maker is a really good game in theory, but
Oh, wait,
a lot of people make shit levels. So.
Dude,
yeah.
I know damn well when you bought the All Stars collection, you played the Lost Levels.
Oh, dude, I was ready. You know what's funny? Do you want to know the first time I ever played Lost Levels was? I actually played it on the Wii Virtual Console when the Japanese Famicom release came out in the States.
Oh, of course.
It was like, and it was so funny. I don't know if you remember this, but back then, Japanese imports of games were always $1 more. So NES games were $5, but if you bought a Japanese import, it was $6. Or they went by points back then, so it was 600 points. And I just remember
There you
being
go.
like, "Oh, dude, this is 600 points. This game's gotta be incredible." Oh, little me. I mean, I don't hate.
That sounds like some pretty sound logic though.
Yeah, I was like, dude, it's more money, therefore better. But
It has to be better.
I still think Mario 1 is better than Lost Levels, but I do like Lost Levels. Let me
Yeah.
clarify. But fuck me, little me was not ready. Yeah, poor bastard didn't know. Little me was not prepared for the shellacking.
So Doc, I actually have a fun question for you.
Mhm.
I haven't asked you this question before, so I'm gonna ask you now. The first time we collab in months. Was there any like old GameCube or like Nintendo product that you wanted to play growing up, but you never had a chance to? So when you play it now, you're like, damn, I wish I played this when I was younger.
Specifically a Nintendo product.
Yeah, we can do Nintendo. We can do general after that. We'll do Nintendo first. This is relevant to the stream, and then we'll do we'll do the general stuff after, because I actually have a good answer for the general one.
That's a great fucking question. Because I played so many, like, I kind of made it a point as a kid to, like, play a lot of different Nintendo games and just kind of, like, experience a lot of different ones. I think when it comes to games that, like, I didn't play growing up, but I kind of played later and really appreciate it. Oh, man, the funny thing is, we say this, and there's a few on stream that I've literally fucking done this. Ah, man. Fucking... Okay, I almost feel like I need to go back on my streams now and check. What's an older Nintendo game that I didn't play till later in my life cycle?
Yeah.
Fuck, man. Because...
Also, does the new Super Mario have co-op or no?
Local only. So we're gonna have to meet up for that one.
I got you, bro. Say it less. Easy.
There's technically online, but like... It's like this weird online co-op where you're not actually playing together. It's like you're racing your friend's ghost or some shit. Because, you know, it's Nintendo.
Yeah, bro. We still have that Super Mario Brothers Wii stream we were supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly. They can't do anything logically, so they're Nintendo after all. But, fuck it. What was I gonna say? Oh, you know, okay, actually, I have one. I actually have the perfect one. I don't even know how I didn't think of this. So as a kid, barely played Metroid games. Played Metroid Prime, and I think that's it. So, years later, probably 2018, I went through the 2D games for the first time. And I was absolutely blown away by Super Metroid. I mean, I was blown the fuck
that's a good
away.
answer.
I was blown away at how fantastic and how... Have you ever played a game... Okay, have you ever played a fucking game that, you know, you have never played before, but it's from an older era, so when you first play it, you feel like all of a sudden you're back in that older era again?
Yeah, like, that was me with Ridge Racer.
Yeah. I fucking played Super Metroid, and I was like, oh my god, I'm a kid again! I'm back in the era! Like, I legitimately could feel the nostalgia for a game I've never played before, which was incredible. It instantly became one of my favorite games ever, but it was just so mind-blowing how I'd never played it before, and, like, I saw it many times on Virtual Console and shit. Like, I could have bought it, and I never did. I passed up on it, and I'm like, man, if I played this as a kid, like, I think my life would have been a hell of a lot different.
Yeah, that, like... I gotta answer the Nintendo one first before I start gushing about Ridge Racer, because I fucking love that game.
Yeah.
There's any specific one?
Also, yeah, I feel that, Dawson. I'm glad you get it. Like, Metroid for me growing up was very niche. I wasn't really into, like, it's so funny now because nowadays I love non-linearity in video games so much. I hold that so highly, and you can fucking ask Mecha. I say that all the time. As a kid, I didn't like non-linearity in games. I didn't like the thought that I had to, like, actually look for things myself, and, like, I had to... Oh, yeah.
No!
Poor Luigi. Like, it was confusing to me. Like, I didn't like running around aimlessly and stuff. I wanted to have, like, some sort of direction.
The Castlevania syndrome.
Yeah. So, growing up, I didn't play a lot of Metroidvanias and shit. I didn't really care for them. So, when I got older and I actually, like, understood the concept more and I actually sat down, I fucking fell in love with it. But it's funny because as a kid, I was like, yeah, I don't want this. But, I'm sorry, go ahead. Is there a Nintendo one? Yeah, you should.
Shit, I see. The thing is, right? To answer that, I have to explain that I also have played my fair share of Nintendo games, niche or not. There's maybe F-Zero GX, because I didn't play that one until I was like a teenager, until I was like past high school. Because I like, Doc, you've seen my copy of the game. I have a brand new copy of GX.
Yeah, which is fucking lit, actually. F-Zero is another franchise probably I didn't play enough growing up. I still haven't played my super fair share of F-Zero games. I've played GX the most.
Yeah.
But I suck at it, as I do all the
I'm gonna try to.
F-Zero
I'm gonna
games.
try my best to answer your question, because I'm really thinking about this. I played a lot. Maybe Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, because Ike's my favorite Fire Emblem character.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorites. I love him. He's super cool. That one. Fuck. This is a hard question. I put myself on the spot. I asked you, and then it backfired on me.
It's
They
in.
don't know, I
I
don't know how
see.
to answer this question
I
correctly. like-
struggled with my answer at first, but now it is you who struggle.
Oh
If
yeah.
this was a mental beam struggle, I'm winning right now.
Oh, 100%, bro. It's the class struggle shit from Budokai 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing makes sense.
Oh, dude. Fucking where you just mash every goddamn button and you're just like,
Oh,
yeah, I
you
think
know
I'm
what?
doing something.
If we're gonna do mainline series, definitely Twilight Princess. I wish I had a chance to play that growing up because I played Wind Waker growing up, and I love Wind Waker. That's why
Yeah.
that's why it's my favorite Zelda. Like, it's actually my favorite because I love Toon Link. I just think the aesthetic of the game is
Yeah,
really
Setting
unique and
Game's
super
beautiful.
cool.
I'm glad you and I agree because a lot of people at the time fucking hated it.
Yeah, I never heard about that growing up. Like, to me, every time I played it, because my brother had the GameCube growing up, like, I just loved it. I just thought it was super cool, super unique, and it's just like there's just that really like alluring nature to the game.
Yep.
So, but I think I can answer general better. Like, for me, Ridge Racer Type 4 was definitely a good answer. I never played that game growing up. Out of all the arcade racers, I played Gran Turismo growing up. I never played Ridge Racer, and I wish I did, because that would probably be my favorite racing game of all time
Yeah.
if I had a chance to play it growing up.
I think I played a
If I
little
did.
of the first one as a kid on the PS1, but that was it. Just
Yeah.
the first one. And I remember, all I remember about it as a kid was my uncle could never beat the black car. Like, the black car was like this super fucking fast car in the first game that was like basically like a secret boss. And it was like, you had to literally be perfect on every turn
Oh,
just
yeah.
to beat this fucking thing.
And then I guess if we're gonna go with the general, maybe you should answer that first, like, because
General.
we could talk about general PS2 like Xbox games for
Yeah.
like 50 years, bro. We will be here all night. Just
General.
thinking
General is actually, I have a really easy answer for that. To go back to my non-linearity conversation,
Okay.
I never once as a kid played Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Never.
Are
Never
you,
played.
wait, hold on. I got you right now. Are you gonna talk about the PS2 game, the 3D one? Because that game is fucking cool.
Oh, dude.
I'm just
you know what's
just saying.
Okay, I actually played. Okay, this is gonna be fucking sacrilegious. I played that one before I played Symphony of the Night. I'm sorry,
Bro,
chat. That's
that's okay. Doc, that means we're that's the same brain moment. Because my first Castlevania experience was literally the 3D PS2 games.
It's literally. It's like that. Okay, shit, you not. That and the fucking 64 game were my first experiences with the franchise, which I think says a lot. But
Bro, I 100% understand that though.
Sympathy of the Night
Because-
was one of those
Just
games.
because like for PS, I grew up loving Devil May Cry,
Yeah.
so I can 100% understand like the games that don't feel linear,
Mhm.
or like the ones that are, they just don't feel that way growing up as kids.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I couldn't beat the water section of Ratchet and Clank 1 growing up, so I never beat the game till I was in high school,
Yeah.
which made me feel really stupid. And I was like, man, I hate this game. Like, Jak 2 I never beat till I was in high school because of the fucking like the backwater town section where
Mhm.
you're getting shot at like 98% of the time. Like,
Dude, I think I literally broke my controller as a kid on that one. That was the moment where I broke my controller and my mom was like, "You're gonna have to earn money for a new one. I'm not buying you another controller." Like,
oh yeah, I feel that, bro. Like,
oh man.
so it's just super cool. Like, because you know what game I played growing up, I had a chance to. It was a Devil May Cry clone. It was the Nightmare Before Christmas game,
Holy fuck, I know that
Well,
game.
Oogie Boogie's Revenge. That game's
Yes.
good, by the way.
Yeah, isn't that
It was
final boss is
rhythm-
fucking crazy?
Rhythm game,
Yeah.
Devil May Cry type. No,
You're like
what's it
flying
called?
around them and shit. Like,
I think the move's called like Soul Whip or whatever. It's so
Yeah.
funny because it's a sequel to the movie, like it's canon.
yeah.
So it's like super like it's like you had to be there. You had to play it growing up to understand. It's like Mickey's Magical Mirror. Like
Oh
people are
my
like, what the
God,
fuck is that? Like you had to be there, bro.
Dude, Mickey's Magical Mirror is like one of those games where I loved early GameCube aesthetic. I think GameCube aesthetic in general is great, but there was something about like the first like 3 months of GameCube aesthetic where they were like so primitive and they were still
Yeah.
trying to be N64 games, but you know, more
But not-
polygons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Luigi's Mansion and Pikmin 1 are like the perfect examples, even Melee, where it's like they just, oh my god, they just look so different and I love it. They have this beautiful shiny look.
Yeah, actually, you know, I think I have another answer for you. If there's any console I wish I had more opportunities to play all the games that came on at the time, it was the Wii. And I had the Wii growing up, but I never owned a lot of games for it. I had Super Mario Bros. Wii, I had the All Stars collection, I had Brawl, I had like a few games here and there, but I never played Return to Dreamland. I've never played it.
God.
That's why.
you
That's,
guys-
that's why my. Bro, that's my.
Oh.
The reason why my two favorite Kirby games are Air Ride and Adventure. Those are the ones I played the most growing up.
Bro, you have to. I literally. I'm not even like just saying this because I like Kirby. I beat that game as a kid, and like every time I go back to it, I get goosebumps. It's literally a fucking art form. Like,
Yeah.
it's just insane. That game blows my fucking mind. Look up nothing of the story, by the way. It'll make it better.
Yeah, of course. Like, no, like Kirby's definitely a good answer for me because like, I wish I had more opportunities to play Kirby growing up because Kirby's one of my favorite like character like game franchises ever.
Yeah.
And that's just because of Air Ride and Adventure. Imagine that. 2 games out of the mass collection of Kirby games.
Yeah.
Like I'm like Kirby's the shit, bro. It's funny because the only other series I could compare it to that has like an asinine amount of games in their series that you might have had a chance to play all of them. For me, it was Sonic. I played almost every Sonic game growing
Yeah.
up.
I.
The only ones I never
literally-
played were the Game Boy Advance games. I played everything else though.
I played everything but like fucking Game Gear. Like I fucking was like, if Sonic game came out, I bought it. I bought Shadow the
Yeah.
Hedgehog day one because I was so hyped. I was like, this is gonna be game of the year, and I was so fucking upset.
I liked it.
I like it.
Bro,
oh, I like it in retrospect. Looking back
Yeah,
now,
yeah, yeah.
I enjoy it, but as a kid, I was like so fucking disappointed.
Oh yeah, dude. I 100% get that. Like for me, there was always those games that you wish you appreciated more
Yeah.
when they came out. Like shit, Luigi's Mansion is a good example. The Pokemon 3D games on the GameCube are great examples of that.
Yep.
Like now in retrospect, we need Pokemon games like that right now. We need the ones that take the risks.
Yeah, the
like,
ones that
like
actually
Pokemon
took-
Conquest, Pokemon Ranger, the Mystery Dungeon games.
Yeah,
like,
stuff that
there's
took
no
actually took
risk in
initiative.
Pokemon right now. It's all
No.
safe.
It's
And
all.
that's what bothers me.
Pokemon's been like, yeah, and that's the thing, right? Pokemon's been like really safe since like fucking past Gen 5. Gen 5 was like the last gen that really like was like
Yeah, that really tried.
risky. And then like I feel like Gen 6 onward, it's just like it's just felt very like corporate and stale, you know?
Yeah, like my opinion on Gen 6 right now is that I was like, you know what? Because I never really I feel like I took it for granted, like the 3DS era, because I remember buying a 3DS when it came out. I bought it for Kingdom Hearts Dream on release and everything, and I remember being fucking butthurt as a motherfucker because the game was very short and it was only fucking 7 worlds, and I'm like, bro, what the fuck?
You're like, bro,
You know, it was the 3DS era. The 3DS era was fucking weird.
three
I like told
fucking
myself.
3D worlds or 3D lands idea of content was just making the same game twice, basically.
Yeah.
So it was like,
So, like, I had lost my train of thought. I fucking brain farted in that level. What was I talking about? Oh, Pokemon. That, like, the way how Gen 8 and Gen 9 are for me, I was like, you know what? Maybe Gen 6 and 7 aren't that bad. Because it's not
Yeah,
like I
like,
didn't
in
like Gen
hindsight.
6. Like, yeah, like, it's not like I didn't like Gen 6. I thought Gen 6 was enjoyable. Like, Pokemon X and Y is fun. Or, like, Oras, I didn't like too much, like, in hindsight. But then now, like, comparing it to, like, Sword and Shield and, like, Scarlet and Violet and like, the DLC era of Pokemon, I'm like, you know what? Omega
Yeah.
Ruby Alpha Sapphire wasn't that bad.
honestly,
Maybe I was just a little too harsh. Like,
I think okay, and I think how I know the term mediocre is like seen as a very bad thing nowadays.
yeah.
But when I say mediocre, I really mean like it just felt like the most middle ground thing ever. Where
Yeah.
I didn't really like it, but I also didn't hate it. I was like it was like a very middle ground, and I feel like that's how I felt with X and Y. I don't hate X and Y, but like
Yeah.
I really don't have any interest to go back to it, despite it not being bad. Like it's not notoriously bad in my mind or anything. It's just like
Yeah.
it just kind of exists, you know? Which is like yeah, Gen 6 onwards, yeah. It's like I don't know. It's very strange. Pokemon's just been a very strange franchise since Gen
Yeah, if anything, my
then.
issue with Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire was that I felt like it was an incomplete game.
Yeah.
Because like they didn't have the Battle Frontier and shit, and like I remember looking up interviews and like, oh yeah, we're not doing it because why the fuck would we do that? Nobody's gonna play it. And I'm like, did you want to do did you want to actually do the remake correctly or no? But
my
now, and like as like because I have to look at it through the perspective of like a dev would, and I'm like, you know what? I think I can see why that even though you would do like a remake of a game, but that doesn't mean you need to do everything to capture the same energy of the game.
Well,
Which is
yeah.
why a lot of people that give shit to Gen 4 remake, I don't think they understood why Gen 4 remake was made the way it was.
Yeah,
I don't think they get it.
Gen 4 remake was like very interesting. to me.
And mind you, out of all the like what 4 or 5 new Pokemon games I've played in the past couple of years, Gen 4 remake's the only one I actually enjoyed. Period.
It probably. I mean this in the I don't mean this in a sarcastic way, but I will say it probably helps that it is at the end of the day Gen 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the Gen 4 bias is true, but it's just like I don't know. It just felt like it recaptured that allure I had when I played Pokemon growing up,
Yeah,
and it just reminded me of like the easier times.
I haven't felt that way about Pokemon in particular for a long time. You know, it's really funny. The last time I actually felt that way about Pokemon was just like streaming the old games on here.
Yeah.
like when I first did a Pokemon stream, what was it, like Red in like 2020? That was like the first time in a long time I felt like this allure towards Pokemon. Because otherwise, like, I like Pokemon, you know, and I would still buy games. I fucking bought Scarlet and Violet, but it's like none of them have really like hit that
Yeah.
particular way. Also, yeah, I can't do that funny little finger thing with my SNES controller. So you're gonna have to clap for both of us.
Oh, what's the button again?
It's just the analog, yeah. You just like hold down the analog.
Gotcha, bro.
I got you. It's really fucking funny, just in general. Like, how like Pokemon, it still sells so much, despite like so
It
much.
became the thing that it wasn't supposed to be, though.
Yeah, exactly. It literally became
Mewtwo,
marketable plushie.
we're sorry, Mewtwo. Pokemon team didn't listen to you. They didn't heed your warning.
They didn't heed. Yeah, my boy Mewtwo warned, but nobody listened.
Hey, you know what? At least we could say with solace that the game, like the TV show and the movies are still good.
Oh yeah, it's.
At least.
I have to say this. I have to give Pokemon credit in one regard in terms of its mediocrity, and that's I gotta give it credit for being so successful for so long, despite it being mediocre for like a whole decade. Sonic was mediocre for like 2 years, and that's all it fucking took. You know what I mean? That's
Are you talking about Boomer before?
like during the era. Okay, so like during like let's say.
See, I had to get you there because now we're gonna have a Sonic conversation. I got
Now
you
we're
right.
on Sonic conversation. Okay, so for me, I when I think of like the era of like the main now because a lot of spin-offs back then were good, but I feel like a lot of the main console games were like very lackluster. Like Heroes ended up being fucking super lackluster. Shadow the Hedgehog was like disappointing.
It was
to a lot of people,
it was mid, but like with hindsight, it's actually a good game.
What, Shadow the Hedgehog? Yeah, that's how I feel about Shadow the Hedgehog.
Like
exactly.
I still like the game, but that was like the perspective. That's the perspective I've had since I played it when it first came out. Right?
06 is the perfect epitome of I like everything about this game, but it's it's somehow just like, you know, the fact that it just wasn't finished like in its full state makes me wonder a lot of like what could have been, you know? Like I like the concept 06 has, like the story's fantastic. I like the level layouts and stuff. It's just obviously like the bugginess and stuff is like what really takes me out of it.
Don't worry, I'm gonna beat this level, bro.
I got you. I trust you.
Leave me that one.
But like,
level's fucking dumb.
I trust you, bro. But like, that's the thing. Like, a lot of people hate 06, and it's like, you know, it's kind of like a meme to like blindly hate 06. It's hard for me to say I like absolutely despise 06 because unlike Sonic Heroes, I feel like Sonic 06 had a lot of potential and a lot of promise. There was a lot of things in 06 I said, yes, if this game was finished, it would have been a good game. I would have liked it. Whereas Heroes, even if that game fucking had like 7 more years of development, I probably still would have hated it. Because conceptually, I just didn't like the idea.
You just think it's stupid.
Yeah, I just thought the fucking power of friendship shit and it's like super slippery controls were just not fun.
Funny how they brought it back for Team Sonic Racing and wasted a whole good fucking IP.
Could have just did another fucking All-Star Racing, but they did this shit. Okay, we're actually gonna let Yoshi go, so I can kind of keep these good boys alive. Obviously, you've seen before. The theory is that we have to keep these dudes alive.
Yeah. So, Doc, do you want to actually hear a story about my when I played Sonic 06 for the first time?
Yes, I actually would.
Because I've never told you this before. So it was back in 2008, and this is before I even owned my first PS3 or anything. And my uncle whenever me and my brother would go over to his place to hang out,
Mhm.
like the games he had like on his console were literally Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare 2, World at War, Street Fighter 4, and Sonic 06.
And Sonic 06.
And Sonic 06.
The
So
legend
like
began.
so I always have fond memories about going over to his place because that's actually when I made my first PSN account. The one I still use to this day.
Oh my, you also still have the same PSN account? See, we really,
Oh yeah, like
we really
I-
are
like
same brain cell.
yeah, like the PSN account you see me use on stream all the time is like the reason why I never bothered changing the name or anything is because that is my main account. I've
That's
never changed
fucking
it for
crazy.
anything. So like every time I looked at the cover of Sonic 06, I was just like, oh damn, like this game just looks so cool, like, and then like the stuff with Silver, and then every time I just look at the cover of Sonic 06, I just get nostalgic. So
Yeah.
when I play the game, I just don't get upset at it, even though the game is ass. Like it plays like
Yeah,
ass.
even though and that's like the major turnoff, right? It plays like ass, but everything else about it is just like really fucking solid. You
Yeah,
know?
but the thing is, it's not like it was a reason for me to stop playing it. It's just I knew the game, like I know the perception of the game and shit, but I didn't care.
Well,
I just
yeah.
liked it. So like it's like how some people look at like specific game franchises or like the really like the dumb ones. It's like, bro, you like that franchise? Why do you like that franchise? The games are ass. And I'm like,
yeah.
okay, and it's like people that liked Monster Hunter back then. It's like, oh, why do you like Monster Hunter? It's so stupid. Like, guess what? Now everybody and their sisters, cousins, dogs, fucking mother is playing Monster Hunter. They're like, oh, bro, Monster's so cool. Like,
It's
all
like
right, shut up. Like,
It's like the armchair critic that like will go solely off of what Metacritic and IGN tells them. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, this game bad, therefore it's bad. Like, bro,
oh,
form
bro,
your
you're playing
fuck-
Monster Hunter
form
over
your
fucking
fucking
COD, bro? What are you,
opinion.
fucking virgin? Like,
Yeah, and it's like I feel like that's a major problem with like modern day society a lot is where we seem to have a difficulty of forming our own opinions on things. We'd rather just blindly follow like what like again like IGN or Metacritic say about something instead of
yeah.
actually fucking playing it. An example was I had an argument over Sonic Frontiers where somebody told me the game wasn't good because Donkey didn't like it, and I was like,
Oh,
So it's
okay.
not good.
I love Donkey, but that is just a very stupid opinion to
You-
follow by.
you know that fucking Westbrook meme? What? You know what I'm talking about?
What?
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
bro, what are you talking about?
That was me when I heard that. My face turned like literally. I did the same expression when I heard him say that. He's like, "Well, Donkey didn't like it, so it's got to be fucking dog shit." And I'm like, "Okay,
Bro,
would you?"
He's
If
a
Donkey
satire
told you,
YouTuber over 90% of the time. Like,
I was like, "Dude, if Donkey told you to suck his dick, would you do that?" Like,
no, if he told you sucking dick tastes bad, would you just believe him outright?
Uh, exactly. Like, okay, one, Donkey satire. Two, he's went on record of saying he's a classic Sonic fan. And he doesn't like the 3D Sonics. So it's like,
Yeah, it's true.
why are you gonna take his opinion on it? You know, he already goes into 3D Sonic being
Bro,
like,
he's the Anthony Fantano of fucking
of,
game reviews.
yeah, exactly.
And it's not like I don't like Anthony Fantano. He has his moments of being really good, but then he gets really weird.
Yeah,
Donkey hasn't had that moment for me yet. Maybe it's because I don't watch him enough to really be like, oh yeah, no, Donkey's kind of a weirdo sometimes with his opinions. No, like for me, I just know where his place is in my head, like as like a satire,
yeah.
like oh, like take his opinion with a grain of salt type guy.
The funniest part about all this, though, I watched Donkey's Frontiers review because I heard someone I knew say that. It was my coworker at the time when I still worked over at last vet I was at, and then I heard people on Twitter starting this whole campaign of like Donkey doesn't like Frontiers, so put bad reviews even if you didn't play it, right? And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was like, damn, like Donkey really went this hard? He doesn't like the game this much? He's having his fucking like fans go after it? And then I watched the video. He doesn't even say anything about how he hates it. He just talks about like, oh, I fell off this fucking ledge. Oh, silly fucking me. Like typical Donkey shit, you know? And I'm like, wait, why are people fucking like flaming Frontiers for Donkey? He didn't even ask anybody to flame this game for him. Like, I was like so fucking confused. And that made me realize, like, sometimes fandoms, I mean, granted, this is like something everybody knows, but sometimes fan bases are just really fucking weird and parasocial. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
JoJo fans.
they feel like yeah, it's like they feel like they need to please their content creator when they're not even asking for it. And he went on record like later on. He's like, he did say he's like, yeah, I wasn't really a big fan of Frontiers, but then he proceeds to say, but y'all were fucking weird for how you treated that. Like y'all were really weird for just fucking like openly flaming the game in defense for me. He's like, you guys don't have to like use me as your figurehead, you know. If you didn't like the game, you could just fucking say it. Like, and that's kind of what it came down to.
Don't use me as an excuse. You know?
Yeah, they were using him as an excuse, and he like actually was mad about that. Like, oh yeah, you gotta fucking either run up that thing or jump it. It's
Yeah,
really
that's
it's a
fine.
goofy
I
little slope.
hit the checkpoint. That's all that matters. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I kind of felt for the guy in that regard because I'm like, I would hate for people to like start associating me with something because
Yeah.
like, and it wasn't
one
even
opinion.
and it wasn't even my opinion though to like begin with, or like I didn't like start something to begin with, you know?
Yeah.
Because like it's kind of like if I said like I don't like Sonic Heroes and I left it at that, and then like somebody misinterpreted that and was like, oh, we should just like go fucking flame Sonic Heroes fans.
He's not a
make
real
them feel
Sonic fan.
bad.
He doesn't like Sonic Heroes. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Like, let's go flame all the Sonic Heroes fans because fucking Karo Chief doesn't like it. Also, hi, Crow. Yeah, he's just funny, haha, man. It's like, you know, like a guy can have an opinion and just fucking like leave it at that. Like, it's that simple.
yeah, bro. Don't be weird about it, dude. Like,
Yeah, but that's like the dude I knew was being weird about it. I was like, bro, did you play the game? He's like, nah, but Donkey didn't like it, so it's gotta be ass. And it's like, all right, man. I mean, you're entitled to. I would say you're entitled to your opinion, but that's not even your opinion at that point.
or like I'm about to say, like, oh, when people don't like specific animes and shit, and
Yeah.
they get real weird about it. It's like, oh, bro, anime's ass, and the anime's ass, and that's all they say about the anime. Like, bro,
Yeah.
you have anything else better to say?
It's
Okay,
like,
but before we even get into a tangent of that, but I do want to finish the Sonic 06 story. But it's just like,
yeah, go ahead.
like I like growing up, like, yeah, a lot of the Sonic games were mediocre and shit, but like me being a Sonic fan, to me, like to this day, as a 25-year-old, I still don't think they're bad games. It's
Yeah.
just that they have their quirks to them that people could still enjoy out of the game. So that's why you will always hear me say I'm a Sonic 06 fan with pride. I don't give a fuck.
Well, yeah.
Because that's what I grew up on. No nostalgia blinds me of that game. That's why Project 06 played Project 06. Project 06 is so fucking cool because that guy single-handedly fixed the whole game without even playing the original, and I respect that.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, that's like, okay, so growing up, I played Sonic Adventure DX before any other incarnation of Sonic Adventure. Didn't have a game Dreamcast. Could have had Dreamcast, but my parents decided not to get it. That's a funny story for another time, but... So, got a GameCube, Sonic Adventure DX, and I loved it. Loved the fucking game. It was buggy, and I admitted that, but, like, I loved it. It wasn't until years later I realized this unified fucking hatred for it. And, you know, and like, oh, the Dreamcast version, you gotta play the Dreamcast version, play Dreamcast version, it's so much better, you know? And while I did come to appreciate the Dreamcast version a lot, I nowadays I do prefer the aesthetic of the Dreamcast version. It's very funny to me, because if I played DX today, I wouldn't think of it any less now that I've played the perfect version, as many call the Dreamcast version. Because to me, it's still Sonic Adventure. Like, it still has its own unique little quirks, and the bugginess of a DX never really fucking bothered me. It just didn't bother me. And it's just very funny because, like, there's just a unanimous hatred for the DX version, whereas the Dreamcast version is heralded. Although, if you get into, like, really armchair casual crowds, they actually misinterpret people's hatred for DX as Sonic Adventure hatred in general. So they'll be like, DX is bad. Or, Adventure 1 is bad. And it's like, oh, because, you know, look, it was released on the GameCube and everybody hated it. That proved that it aged bad. And it's like,
The GameCube
no.
was a bad console. That's
yeah,
why.
it's like, no, it was like, people like will say like, oh, see, it got released on a later console and it was proven that was bad. It's like, no, that's because the port was inferior. That's why people hate it. They don't hate Sonic Adventure 1. They hate that the port was inferior. Like, but it's like that. You ever heard that like telephone game? Like, the further you get down the line, the more the fucking perception or the story gets like changed. That's basically something like that, you know?
Yeah.
Also, yeah, I've heard about that with FMA Brotherhood. There's like
Okay,
something
to be
where
fair,
it's
though,
always
the-
be
the-
Ray 1 or something.
To be fair, Fullmetal Alchemist is fucking awesome. So I can't. My opinion, I'm not gonna use it because I love Fullmetal Alchemist.
I'm gonna rescind my opinion.
Yeah, but the My Anime List stuff is stupid. I've never used that website
No,
for like
no.
forums and shit. Because what am I? Like, how old do you think I am? Like, no offense to the people that went on the forums and stuff back then, but if I will only make a Mao list of anime, if just because I'm like, fuck it, I'll do it because these are my favorite anime. These are the anime I think are good. And if people tell me, oh, the anime actually sucks, I'm like, bro, go fucking suck a dick somewhere else,
Yeah.
bro. Keep that shit out of my forum. Like,
When I was younger, when I first really
I don't care that you think Black Lagoon is a 3 out of fucking 11, bro. Fucking go touch ass
Who the
or something.
fuck?
Go fucking catch a sexual harassment case, bro. Leave me alone. Like,
I'm dead ass gonna fucking defend your ass for that. Like, whoever says Black Lagoon is bad, like, shut the fuck up, bro.
oh, Squirrel was not even that funny, bro. I would actually murder you. Like,
Yeah, I would actually. Well, it's kind of like Bobo's too random. Like, just shut the fuck. Bobo's
the
too
dub's
random.
not funny.
Yeah.
Like, people think dubs are funny. Dubs are fucking stupid. Like,
Shut the fuck. Like, I would fucking fight a motherfucker for that one.
like don't get me wrong. There was a point in time where I refused to watch anime dubs, but it's not like I don't like dubbing. I
Yeah.
love dubs. It's just I just fell out of love of it because I grew up in a different era for
Well,
that.
yeah. It's
So it's just like that's my reason. But it's not like, oh, dubs are always ass. Never watch dubs. Because there are some Japanese subs that are garbage. Like, they
Dude.
are bad.
there's like a great example for me is I really like when I really was like into Space Dandy. I still love Space Dandy. But like when the season 2 first like finished airing, and obviously I watched the whole dub, and I was like, oh, this series was fantastic. I wonder what it was like in Japanese. And I watched the Japanese version, and it was fine, but I think the dub just it hit so much more. And a big point to that was, you know, Watanabe is like very into his dubbing because a lot of the
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
he makes is very Western based. So it's
Oh.
really funny how he prioritizes dub most of the time instead of like, the sub.
The addendum I'll add to that is because of Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, it's because Cowboy Bebop, exactly. And again, the dub for Cowboy Bebop, fantastic, you know?
See,
I
the
mean-
craziest shit about Bebop is the fact that most of those like voice actors that worked in that were like that was their first time doing voiceover stuff, which is a whole thing we could have a whole tangent about in a minute because I know we're trying to stay on topic, but because like I just fucking love old era voice acting because I end up talking about Fooly Cooley. Fooly Cooley is fucking awesome. Like,
How do
but-
you feel that they're making another Fooly Cooley series? I saw
oh,
that-
apparently grunge sucks, and I'm like, damn, that sucks.
Okay, I'm not
apparently
gonna
not-
lie. I'm not gonna lie. I saw that 3D art style and I was like, all right, is this gonna be like that Berserk anime? Like, is this gonna be like that levels of quality? And I'm not glad to know I was right, but like, I had a feeling.
No, apparently it just has no soul. That's really what it is.
Oh,
I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, you're getting beat up by
Okay,
some
right.
fucking football players.
Football.
Football.
No, leave me alone. Leave me alone.
I'm fine with either though. I prefer dub since I prefer to watch and not read and possibly miss stuff. Yeah, that's fair, and I feel like it's good contextually. You know, like it's good for the sake of context. I have a friend, right? He likes to binge dubs while he's working on like reviews and stuff. He's like a fucking critic for a newspaper. So like when he reviews stuff, he likes to like watch anime on the side and stuff to kind of like keep his mind going. And he watches dubs because to him it's so much easier to focus on listening to a dub and kind of getting immersed in it that way while working on his papers than like trying to fucking multitask reading a sub while making paper, you know? So like making
Yeah.
paper. So and I get that. It's perfectly fucking valid, honestly. Hold on, I'm gonna go get some power-ups because I'm a little bitch.
Oh yeah, by all means.
Yeah,
bro, shit, I'm going low on fucking lives and shit, and then you have 61. I'm like, all right, bro.
oh
fuck it,
yeah, hold up. I can remedy that. Wait, what button is it? There we go. Oh yeah, I'm taking yours. Here.
Would you look at that? A team player like that.
Wait till you see.
we
what
we
I'm
can split it in half, bro. We can split it in
I
half.
think that's good.
I don't need that many.
No, I think I'm
Hold on.
good. One life is all I need. It's like real life. If Mario dies, he dies for real.
No, but actually, if you want, we can talk about like dubs and stuff. Because I was gonna get at with Cowboy Bebop is that like I've watched a lot of interviews recently, in that Steve Blum has always mentioned that that Cowboy Bebop was his first official role as
Yeah.
as like a cast member.
I was gonna say that.
outside
Steve
of being
Bloom-
like creatures and shit.
Yeah,
Like
Steve
that
Bloom
was his
lit-
first time actually figuring out how to become a fucking voice actor. Like,
Yeah, that was his like first like genuine voice role, which was really crazy to me because when you go back and watch Bebop, he's literally already sounds like he's been in the industry for like 20 years. Like
yep.
he sounds like such an experienced, like his performance in that is so Harold, and it was literally like it was like the Toriyama. It was like he winged it. You know what I mean?
The
Bro.
like to even double on what you just said. People say that, and like even the anime community it says it, and whether or not people believe that is up to them. That's a matter of opinion. But people say like that is one of his best work he's ever done, bro. That was his first one.
It was
Like,
his fucking first. Yeah, that says a lot. You know?
but if anything, that shows a different time period for us.
yeah.
That like things that were done so authentically and like on the fly and things, those are the things we want now. Those are the things we need.
It's that authenticity. There's like a really raw, like I know it's gonna sound fucking like I'm high or something, but there's really just a raw aura to like performances and shit like that
Yeah.
I feel like nowadays in an industry where there's like so many takes and so many, like people are like literally like protéged into roles and stuff ahead of time.
They phone
This
it
was an
in,
era where
like,
motherfuckers were just thrown in.
voice actors phone it in sometimes. Like
Yeah.
I've seen it. I have my annoyances with it. I can list a few examples, but I'll get to that. You know, like so the thing with like Steve Bloom or like fucking the dub for School Rumble or like the dub
Shit.
for that sucks. The dub for like Fooly Cooley, for example. I think all three voice actors, that was their first time voicing anime. Like half of them, I think two of them never even watched anime before. One of
That's
them did like
fucking
radio work.
Oh, I think you just press A and you can give some back to or B. You can give some back or something. It's A or B. It's one of them. With Rip Stream.
No, what it flipped it though? Why did, there we go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. Just
Okay,
give me
I'm
like
gonna
no. no. Yeah, give
21.
yourself like 50 at least.
there we go. Boom. We'll work with that. No, but yeah, it's like I think it was the voice of Mamimi. I think she did. It was either her or Haruko that did radio work before, and then they saw anime and they're like, oh yeah, why not? So like I don't know if you ever watched, like a lot of people do retrospectives on Fooly Cooley,
Yeah.
but like the whole big allure behind Fooly Cooley was that it was one big inside joke, like with the JP side of things, the American dub side of things, that everybody was in on it. That's why that they explain the whole thing with current Fooly Cooley and how all of them are like bad or mid or
Yeah.
okay because they're so lifeless, trying to replicate what they did before. Is because the first time was a lightning in the bottle situation, so you
Yeah.
can't replicate that. You can't. It's physically impossible.
It's impossible to if you're going to specifically, and I think that's like something that like the best of like directors and stuff understand is they don't try to like go off of the same work that they've done before and like just replicate that. There's always has to be some sort of innovation or like they have to change the standard in some regard to keep some level of quality, you know? Because when you just try to replicate something and just like to a T with nothing different, you're normally just going to end up with like a half-baked mediocre product. You know what I mean? Like you're going to end with something that's like it just feels so much like it's trying to be its predecessor that it's not going to be able to stand on its own 2 feet. It doesn't have its own identity. Its identity is existing to be like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And that's
sure.
it doesn't help. That doesn't help anybody. Have I ever beaten this game? Oh, have I ever beaten this game? I have beaten this game so many times that I've probably spent more days of my life beating this game than eating. Well, let's go with that.
Well, the answer is no.
The answer is I have consumed more Mario than nourishment.
Yeah.
More Mario World than nourishment in my life. But yeah, and I feel like that's
You have played this game more than you have read and watched JoJo.
damn. I mean, yeah, you're actually fucking right. I've read through the entire series of JoJo once. I've done this like a million times. But yeah, I don't know, and that's why like I feel like again a lot of creators like, for example, right? like when it comes on the video game side of things, the reason why Mario's been able to stay so popular for so long, it's not because Mario's done the same thing over and over and over again, just trying to replicate what Mario 1 did, and that lightning in a bottle situation of how Mario 1 was like this huge console hit in the many homes. Mario's been trying to, Miyamoto and them have been trying to innovate and reinvent Mario while keeping the groundwork intact since the very beginning. Like, you have to keep the groundwork intact, so that it still is, like, remotely within the same identity. Like, you can't just watch fucking, like, a Fooly Cooly sequel and be, like, totally different and be like, oh, yeah, I understand how this is related to Fooly Cooly.
Yeah, you're like, man, I can totally see why people liked Fooly Cooly 1. Like, no.
Yeah,
You
but...
have to watch the original series, like, to understand. Like,
Yeah, at the same time, it's like, it can't just be Fooly Cooly 1 again, because if it's just trying to replicate the same...
What the fuck hit you? What?
The side of the spikes in this game sometimes are really weird, and they hit you.
Oh, they got some fatty hitboxes.
Yeah, they got some fatty hitboxes. But, you can't just, like, replicate Fooly Cooly again with the same beats and expect it to be entertaining, because at that point, why not just fucking watch Fooly Cooly? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not Mega Man 1 spikes, the jankiest of all.
No, like, if there's anything that I can attest to the Mario comparison you just used, was that, like even though Mario was reinvented more than once, like, a lot of people consider Super Mario World like Mario 1.
Really?
Yeah, like, that's how good Mario
I know
World
what you mean.
is. Like,
Sorry,
yeah,
I know
like-
what you meant.
like, it's like it reinvented it so well that
But-
you can disregard the first Mario and say this is the first one, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, it's so fucking good!"
It's
Like,
really funny you say this, because I feel like a lot of modern generation, especially, they look at Mario World and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's like the earliest Mario game." Like, if they have like really no prior knowledge, they see Mario World, they think, "Yeah, that's like probably the oldest fucking one." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mario
yeah.
World is at this point, Mario World's popularity is essentially
superseded.
Yeah, it's definitely, if not at least on comparison, or if not at least surpassed, it's in comparison nowadays to what Mario 1 is or has done. Because Mario World is just so popular with so many, even people who don't really play Mario games know Super Mario World, at least,
Yeah,
Which
true.
is, like you said, at first I thought you meant they thought it was like literally a Mario 1 clone. I was like very confused, but now I know what you meant. Yeah, and that's like, that's kind of the problem with stuff like,
Another series, Metal Gear Solid. There's original Metal Gear right there, but guess what? Nobody played it.
Yeah, exactly. I only played it because I fucking had the HD collection, and it was like, I looked up like, oh, what order to play the games in, and they were like, oh, play these, and I was like, oh, so I did.
Yeah, bro. So like,
And I
I
liked them a
100%,
lot.
I 100% get what you're talking about though, because like I played a lot of games, I watched a lot of things that you need to have seen it or experienced it to understand.
Yeah.
Why people like these things to begin with.
Yeah.
Which is why I tell people like, oh, like a good example. Most modern anime fans don't know what the fuck Great Teacher Onizuka is. Like, they're like, what the fuck is that?
Oh man. God, yeah, that's
Like,
like the
Like
fact.
some of it was like you literally had to be there.
Yeah, you had to be there to understand it. It's like, I don't know. It's like you said. It's like people nowadays like. I one day that's gonna be people with Sword Art Online though, and that's really sad to think about. People be like, you had to be there for Sword Art Online, man.
Actually, it already is like that for me.
Oh my god.
You think about it, when it came out in 2012, everybody's like, "Oh my god, this shit fucking took the internet by storm."
That's true.
But guess
Nobody
what? Like,
fucking talks about it now.
yeah, it's just like, oh, it's just SAO. Like, what else is new?
Yeah, exactly. It's actually fucking crazy because you're not wrong. If a chick was a 10 in looks but constantly smelled like jalapeno potato chips, would you still date her?
Yes,
What's the downside? No, I'm kidding.
it's just food, bro. I like food.
Super Mario
Sounds
World
like-
being lifted up. Yeah, exactly. You're not even wrong, Dawson. The Mario Bros. Arcade game's the skeleton. Yeah,
What the fuck is that? Oh, what the fuck?
You can spin jump on those.
Okay, I've never seen that. I don't recognize that.
Yeah, you have to. Okay, so basically how those work, you have to like spin jump.
Jump on top of them.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.